Are we in a simulation? That's the question that every woke college guy that tries mushrooms for the first time and discovers that he has empathy seems to ask. And it's not the question I'm going to answer. Instead, I posit a different question. Why would it matter if we are? What does it matter if life is a simulation or if it's not? Depending on who you are, that question might make you outraged or let you let out a huge sigh of relief because you've been told by philosophy majors that actually it is the most important question in the world, and they seem to question everything about reality except for the fact that you should pay for the bill. But seriously, think about it. What would change if you found out that your reality was a simulation? What would change if you found out that instead of protons and neutrons, your life was made of ones and zeros? If you still touched a table and felt it, you still looked someone in the eye and smiled, you still drink your expensive drink and listen to people on the internet yell about unimportant things, what would it really change? I think to a certain extent, to be human is to be haunted by the fact that being human means you have a limited understanding of reality. Our reality is determined by what we perceive, and that's our blessing, and it's our curse. We have discovered that there are colors that we can never see. And no matter what we do, even if we recreate them, we will simply never have the tools to perceive them in this lifetime. So I guess your only chance is reincarnating as an angry little shrimp that can punch at the speed of sound because whoever is running this simulation thought it would be funny if they had the most visual receptors for colors of any known animal, which to be fair is pretty fucking sick. I think that humans obsess about being trapped in a limited reality because we hope that we can somehow break free of it. I never want to discourage those feelings to a certain extent. It took someone believing that we could beat gravity so that we could get to the moon. It took someone wondering if maybe we didn't have to die every single time that we got a cold in order to invent modern medicine that's become so mundane. You can pull up to a 24-hour Walgreens at 2 a.m. and buy medicine a medieval peasant would have had to sell their fucking soul for. So, yeah, reality as we know it is capable of changing based on our belief that it can, but I think some people get so entranced by the concept of being trapped in a cave and the world around us simply being shadows that it consumes them. What if your human body is the cave? What if the limited things we can perceive is the price of being alive in this form? Humans are inherently scared of the unknown, so it makes sense why we can be petrified by the unknowable. The lurking fear that everything we know is the inside of a cave is unsettling, and it's hard to disprove once a thought occurs. And yet, the outside of the cave remains a mystery. And as far as I can tell, will remain a mystery until we leave our mortal chains of our fleshy existence, and maybe the only thing outside the cave is darkness, maybe light, maybe nothing at all. But what if it's all actually a fucking computer? Part 2 is God a Redditor and Other Unknowns. Buckle up, we're about to get blasphemous in this bitch. Honestly, the most horrific prospect of this to me is the concept that we were just made by some guy. Just some guy. Like a Redditor in his mom's basement. Or an out-of-touch billionaire guy who just wanted to see if he could create life and ascend to godhood as a party trick, and promptly abandoned us to fend for ourselves after we had served our purpose of being mildly entertaining. But really, did the Bible ever say God didn't have a neckbeard? Have you thought about that? Or maybe he had a few dozen failed businesses, hair plugs, a botched dick implant, and that's why he had to resort to a different type of creation that only required will and a rib. Hopefully he doesn't get into making electric cars or digging tunnels in Nashville. God never claimed to be a good guy, just a powerful one. We like to believe that if a higher power exists, they are all-knowing and also all-compassionate, but how do we know that's the actual truth? God is just what humans call the unknown to make it more palatable, and honestly, that's pretty cool. Because it just feels better if the void had a face and a name to call it. And what if the void listened to you, listened to your prayers, and knew that you existed on a personal level? Even if you believe in the universe being a spontaneous creation, the atoms that make up your blood used to be in the stars. In all of time and existence, there are a trillion, billion, gazillion things that had to happen exactly as they did in order for you to exist. And that's kind of comforting in a way too. But thinking your existence was neither divinely orchestrated nor a miracle of chance just a result of code put into a computer so advanced it was able to create a billion consciousnesses that could all individually worry about whether or not they were real, it's not as comforting. I'm going to be real. And I get why that's an uncomfortable thing to consider as a possibility. On the other hand, the outside of the cave is simply unknowable. So shut up and watch the pretty shadows. Part 3, Technology and the Death of Magic. The mysteries of life have always been and may always remain unknowable, at least to a certain extent. The cutting edge of the unknown becoming known, though, is of course technology. Even though at this point it feels like technology is domesticated magic that we've just normalized to a point, even though we still don't completely understand it, it's still fundamentally more understandable, at least, than the mystic unknown. You can't take your existential crisis to the Apple Store and fix it with a monthly charge of $9.99 for the forbidden knowledge to be beamed into your brain. It's a lot more cool to tell you the story of some guy that fed a whole crowd of people with 2 fish by a divine miracle where all the food they needed just appeared, instead of saying that Jesus ordered last-minute catering to the conference with an app on his phone. One of those started a religion. The other one happened yesterday. You might not know exactly how the camera on your phone works, but you're no longer starstruck by it every time you take a stupid picture of your dog or accidentally catch yourself at the most unflattering angle humanly possible. It's just normal. And even though you might not understand it fully, you know it is at least understandable. A magician never reveals their secrets, in part because of their Vegas sphere-sized egos, and in part because the secrets themselves are what contain the magic. Sure, you might be curious to see how things are done. You might watch videos on how certain unbelievable tricks are performed until they make sense to you, and sometimes in learning that you still find out there's plenty of impressive things going on behind the scenes. But once you learn that they made a woman float using a forklift instead of the magic of the word abracadabra, you can never go back. You left the cave. You could have left that original experience of wonder and awe alone, preserved in your memory by the question of how. Suspended into holiness by the unknowns, allowed to remain a sacred experience because it was an exception from what you thought possible. But the human mind doesn't like exceptions to reality. Even though it may have brought you more joy in the long run to leave it alone, you sought out answers. You watched the videos on how the trick was done. You learned it was impressive, but not impossible. And next time you see a magician pull a rabbit out of a hat, you no longer feel the joy of the unexplained happening before your eyes. Instead, you watch with the smugness of knowing about the false bottoms and mirrors. You may not always be able to see behind the curtain, but you'll always know there is a curtain, and that there is something behind it, something that can explain the unexplained and make it into something knowable. Because yes, if we live in a simulation, it would have to be far more complex than our current technology of Sims and glitchy video games. Look, it's just an acid trip. The fuck? This is why I didn't even, like, travel. I just looked.
You might need to reload saves. You can't fast travel in that area.
What do you mean? I shouldn't just progress like this? Holy shit. Okay. But it would be something comprehensible at least. Impressive, but not impossible. The same way that the camera on your phone is no longer awe-inspiring because even though you don't know what goes on behind the curtain of your phone case, recording visual data in a way that can then capture reality and transmute it into something that can then be revisited and shared. And yes, the cameras they use to make films and movies are far more complex than the cameras we carry in our pockets. But does this bring up feelings of wondrous awe from viewing the unknown? No. Because although there are differences, they are similar enough technology that at best the difference between them might be mildly interesting if you're a fucking nerd. I think that's another part of why the thought that we are living in a matrix is so blasphemous. Not just because it means we most certainly had a creator, like some people like to spend their whole lives arguing about, but it also means we are manhandling the part of life people used to deem as divine and shoving it into a hunk of plastic and metal that is at least somewhat comparable to the family computer you used to have to kick to get to work. That feeling of humbling that which is sacred, the blasphemous realization that what you assumed was unreachable is actually something you could touch or at least understand, is just as paralyzing as if it were to always remain unknown. Humans are scared of the dark and are sometimes too petrified by that same fear to even reach for the light. Part whatever. Can we not discuss hypotheticals? Of course we can. This is what we're doing. I love hypotheticals, but I love them because I love the process of thought where I can take an idea, grab onto it, and let it drag me along to its natural conclusion. I love thinking about scenarios that will never happen. I'm human like you, I think. I too partake in shower arguments where I am somehow perfectly articulate and am able to slay opponents with verbal slices to the soul while onlookers clap. I do love thinking about deeper things, like time not being real, or if correlation does not equal causation, then why does Trisha Paytas keep giving birth to reincarnated royalty of either tea, hats, or guitars? What if the only actual conscious being is me? And this is just an elaborate experience offered to a young alien child in a waiting room of alien hospital so that they don't have to worry about the fact that their alien parents are being operated on by alien surgeons and can't afford the bill that will come with saving their alien lives because healthcare existing for profit was the only through line of this artificial reality and that alien child's reality. So basically what I'm saying, do not quote the dark magic to me, witch. I was there when it was fucking written. I have been overthinking existence since I could think, drug along by the insatiable curiosity of, well, if that's true, then could this be true? And if that is true, then everything and nothing could be true at the same time, and on and on and on and on and on, until the grip I have on the increasingly moving goalpost of the point loosens, and I smack face first into the haunting phrase, why does it matter? Yes, I could be the result of a simulation made to comfort a strange child on another planet and only maintain my existence because their parents are still being operated on. But if that is the only life I am granted, am I not allowed to still enjoy it? I'm still alive. I still breathe. And the question of why does it matter has grabbed me by the scruff and yanked me out of existential crises due to a mix of caffeine, serotonin deficiency with a sprinkle of doom scrolling and creature feel more times than I can count. Existence as we know it cannot be changed by questioning it, as far as we know. So questioning the unknown will probably result in the only thing changing being me. And if that's the case, then I can choose how important it all is to me. If the screen you're watching this on is made of code or atoms or maybe something completely different, you are still watching it. Or maybe listening and using me as a body double, in which case, comment down below what tasks you accomplished during this. Or not, it's also acceptable. Whether or not this is a simulation or real, or if free will even exists, whatever you do is completely out of my control and knowledge. Either way, you have the same amount of control. Either way, my experience will be the same. The like and subscribe button will still be there, the ground will be under our feet, the sun will set tonight and tomorrow it will rise. I can go to sleep tonight knowing whether free will is an illusion or not. It's the only illusion I'll ever know. So what does it matter? I'm a sack of flesh and bone worrying about the stars when in comparison I'm just an atom. In a way, that's comforting. Whether it's made of stardust or the result of a computer my brain could never imagine, I can still have my coffee tomorrow morning. Whether it was by my choice or divine intervention, I have people in my life I love. If the bad things that happened to me were because of random chance or an inevitability I could never understand, or perhaps even a wrathful entity I could never comprehend, I still got through them, and I'll go through more, and I'll love more, and I will fail and succeed a million times before I go to sleep tomorrow, and in all the tiny little micro decisions that may or may not be out of my control. Either way, they will happen. Whether I'm a director or an actor or a witness, how lucky am I to be part of this show, the production of this life? Hey, is it just me or does that lamp look weird? I think my hair came undone. The continuity! No! You know what? That was good enough. And good enough is fine. I'm gonna hold my hair all the way to the bathroom to fix this shit, and I'm also gonna turn my mic off. Good night, America.